few minutes of conversation about Proposition 1. I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer James Wilson, a member of the Port Townsend School Board, and Dr. John Palm, the superintendent of the Port Townsend School Board. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be here and have an opportunity to share a little bit of information with you about Prop 1. Just to give a little bit of background, the school board here in Port Townsend, in fact, all the school boards in our state except Seattle have 5 members. And many of those will have members that represent area districts. Some will be at large positions and some hybrid combination of them depending on the local decisions there. Here in Port Townsend, we currently have 5 director districts. They represent geographical areas, and those are redrawn typically after each census. When we have some minor population shifts, they're supposed to be equal in number in terms of population. The proposal is motivated by, historically, I think Port Townsend has had some difficulty filling positions, and currently we do have a full board, but of the current 5 board members, the majority have been, or initially appointed to vacant seats that had been vacated midterm and then ran unopposed. So the theory of action here is that we would have an opportunity for more involvement in the future with 2 at-large and 3 director districts. So that's the proposal. There is, I guess the good news is normally when school districts have issues, it has to do with tax money, and so there's no ask there. I know that Jennifer has been on the board for quite a few years, and she has some historical kind of information to share as well. But should the proposal be approved, it would dissolve the current districts, and then the school district has an obligation to come up with a plan, including public hearing, and then would be implementing that plan before the next election cycle. So of the 5 board members, 2 members, their terms expire in 2021, and 3 members expire in 2019. So should this pass, then in 2019, 3 of those current board members would be running for potentially different districts or at-large positions, depending on how the plan was developed. So with that, I'll segue to Jennifer.
Well, again, thank you to AAUW and to the League for having us and making room for us this evening. It's been, this is not one of the sexiest issues on the ballot, but it is important to us, and we really thank you for your time and attention to this matter. So I'll bring out my coloring project for today.
I can hold it.
As Dr. Palm indicated, we have 5 districts, 5 director districts in our school district. Our school district has about 12,000 registered voters. Yellow is Director District 1. Blue is Director District 2. Pink is Director District 3. Orange, Director District 4. And green is Director District 5. And in theory, districts are drawn so that each geographical area has representation on its local school board. In our case, I am your elected official from District 2. I was elected in 2009. That's the blue district. I was elected in 2009. At the same time, my neighbor, who lives about 250 feet away from me, Holly Carlson, was elected. She's in the yellow district. A couple years ago, we appointed a person to replace Holly's unexpired term, also from Director District 1, and she lives about 150 feet away from my front door. I can literally call to my current school board member from my front porch with my voice. I point this out because I have felt for a long time, I would say a minimum of 6 years, that there was something a little bit arbitrary and not necessarily reflective of the intent of geographical districts by living so close to my neighboring district. So I've brought this up on board a number of times, and it's been a discussion in terms of our community outreach. It's a discussion in terms of continuity on the board, and it's a discussion around scarcity, honestly, of finding school board members. We've had several vacancies to fill. And each time I've been on an ad hoc, unnamed committee called Beating the Bushes to go out and find people to either place applications for consideration of appointment or to recruit them to run for school board. Several times in the last several years, I've had interested community members who either didn't live in the district where there was an opening or did live in a district where they didn't want to run against the incumbent. And so this idea of developing an at-large position has been on my mind and something that we've talked about on the school board as a strategic plan for continuity and building capacity. When elected, the last time I was elected or re-elected was in 2017, and Connie Welch, District 1, was also elected at that time. And when elected, the entire sprawling district was able to vote for both positions. So I want to make sure that people understand that this measure doesn't take away your ability to elect a candidate. Your ability to elect candidates stays the same. You vote for each position, whether it's a district position or an at-large position. I think the other thing that I want to share with the group is that now that I've gone over the frustration, and is that the timing of this is such that it is in keeping with our strategic plan. It's in keeping with our goals of the board. We have, as John mentioned, we have 3 positions coming up for election in 2019. So approval of this would set us up for that. And if it didn't, we would still have 3 positions on the ballot next year. And then we also have a director on our board currently serving who was originally elected out of District 3 and has now moved to District 2. And should we be able to make changes, that person could run presumably at an at-large position. So we know that there has been some resistance to this idea, and the resistance has come in the form of thinking that the rural area, such as District 5, which includes Calla Point, down to Discovery Bay and over to Gardner, that the rural area would somehow be adversely affected in terms of its representation. And I don't personally see it that way. I see the options, I see the opportunities of expanding the board to include 2 at-large positions as being something that is in the spirit of nonpartisan engagement, that anyone would be able to apply or file for those positions. So we are in an informational state, but I'm asking you to, consider your questions and your concerns, and we're free to ask questions.
Did I understand you to say that a given voter would vote for all 5 or only 3?
All 5. All 5.
But the nominations have to come from a person that lives in each of those 3 under the new scheme.
Right.
But in 2019, there would only be 3 positions that would be up for election. So part of the district's plan would account for the other 2 continuing on as a district representative or as an at-large.
But once it's all settled out, you still would vote for all 5.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which still means that your population-centric areas could almost overrule the sparse population.
They're actually all equal population in terms of...
Everybody can vote for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody votes for everybody anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody votes for everybody anyway. But the districts would be arranged balanced If we were to go to 3 districts and 2 at large, the 3 districts would be balanced population-wise, so that you had however many are in this, however many bodies are in the school district, because it's by census, would be balanced a third, a third, a third.
That only applies to the people getting nominated or elected. You could still end up electing everybody from the metropolis.
Or from Calipointe, or from Cape George.
3.
Well, 3 of the 5, a majority.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking.
That's why people are thinking it's being watered down.
That's why they think that there's a shift in power. So one of the considerations that I've given as a school board member is, I live near Morgan Hill, and as I said, 200 feet from my District 1 people. I don't really consider my representation to be I don't consider myself to be a Morgan Hill representative. I am elected by the school district, and I represent the school district. I may know Morgan Hill a little bit better than I know Discovery Bay, but I don't actually, the issues that come up for us are not really by neighborhood. They're by student need.
Yeah.
So
One comment I think I would add would be the consideration around this issue is generally associated with minority populations in certain neighborhoods. For example, the Yakima School District, this would be a hot discussion item, because they may not have representation from Latina populations if they had more at-large positions, because they may not be engaged with the community. It kind of ensures that there's that sort of consideration and that really isn't a factor in the Port Townsend School District.
Why are you proposing 2 at large rather than start with just 1 at large?
2 came to mind.
Wouldn't you kind of deal with that issue about that concern about a majority in 1 district?
Right.
It's the beating the bush aspect there.
Well, there is some beating the bush aspect, yeah.
But there's still, if I understand his question right, there's still the possibility that all of Port Townsend at the 3 district area could have vote for the majority of the board in the current.
The way that, because of the concentration of population, I have a feeling that District 1 is going to look relatively small. The Port Townsend district is going to look relatively small. I think that the district, what is currently District 5, is still going to be large and sprawling. But I think District 2 is going to take up kind of the tenderloin of Port Townsend. This is, I'm not a GIS person, but this is what I sort of imagine. So while it's true that you could end up with a majority living 2 at large and a person representing District 1, you could end up with a Port Townsend majority. It wouldn't be entirely a Port Townsend majority. So
You might even have competition for some of this.
well, and that's come what may. I mean, that is the idea of this. This is supposed to open opportunity and encourage engagement, not close it out.
I just have to comment on your question. And, it's wonderful to come to a public space and see what here.
Thank you.
John and Jennifer, thank you for all your service.
Thank you, Catherine.
Please pass that on to everyone. We're very proud of our school.
First of all, I just want to clarify something. I'm not sure I quite understood what you're talking about, voting. So currently, we have 5 districts.
Mm-hmm.
Do each one of those districts vote for their own representative?
No.
They elect or nominate a representative from each of those districts.
So the districts only really apply to the person who is running for office. So it's just, if I want to be on the school board, I have to find my residence on the district map. Okay, thanks, Jackie. And then if there's an opening, I can file for that position. But everybody in the district can vote yay or nay on me.
In the, can I point out, in the primary as well as in the general election.
In the primary as well as the general.
Okay, and then that aspect will not change when you move down to 3 districts. So
That's
you're
correct.
Nominated from one of the districts, and the whole area votes.
The entire
all of them.
12,000 voters.
The 2 extra people could come from anywhere,
That's right.
and then the whole area votes.
Would vote on them as well. Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. I'm sure that's still confusing, but
Okay.
I think our time is almost up. If you want to talk with us after,
Well, just the one question that I had after clarifying that, you said that you feel, even though you live near Morgan Hill, that the issues of the school district that are represented or brought forward by the area that you serve, you feel those are issues that are true for the whole district, regardless of if a person lives in Discovery Bay or Morgan Hill. And I guess my question is do the people in Discovery Bay feel the same way?
I can't tell you how many people live in Discovery Bay, but I know we haven't had a representative out of Discovery Bay. We have our District 4 representative, last 2 District 4 representatives have been out of Middle Point, and our District 5 representatives have been out of Calipoint. So I don't know. We aren't getting a lot of information from Discovery Bay that they feel like their needs aren't being met, nor are we getting people filing for office out of Discovery Bay, but they could.
And we don't have anybody here from Discovery Bay.
And he ran for school board in Quilcene. All right.
I was just curious.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest and your time.